and then it turns green. And this stone, it's sturdy, it's stable, it's not wiggly, so I'm not worried that it's going to fall down. But you can kind of see how the striations, when you come up and look at it, you can see where it's starting to degrade. So, gotta love trees. So I'm really not going to even mess with the front of it because I don't want to cause any more damage. So I'm just using the scraper at an angle and just kind of getting some of the bigger stuff off that I can. But it's so porous at this point that they've taken up some serious residence here. When I can, especially for the smaller stones, I mean, if I know where they're buried, I try not to necessarily walk on their, I mean, this is a larger family stone. Where each person is buried is probably a good question. Is it behind? Probably. But, I mean, we're here to clean and help out, so if you have to, I mean, they mow, so they walk on it anyways. With the D2, let me save you a heart attack. So it is a biological solution. It's got enzymes. It's going to start eating and devouring the green stuff that's on there. It might turn purple. It's okay. It's called a blush. The first time I saw it, I almost wet my pants. Not gonna lie, I'm like, what did I do? But it's absolutely normal. It's not hurting the stone. It's actually showing you that it's actually working. I always like take the pressure off so that when I put it in my car, it's not spraying everywhere. So I'm just spraying the D2 on it. Yeah, the back's turning a little brown, but it's a plethora of orange. I've seen purple, brown, all sorts of different colors because you don't realize how much growth's actually on it. I can guarantee you the one on the other side of that tree of my van is going to be all sorts of crazy colors when we spray it. I already know. So usually I try and let it sit for like 5-10 minutes or so, or I start to like gently brush. Because of the condition of the stone, I'm going to use a really big bristle brush because I don't want to cause any more damage. And it's going to foam up. And I've even had other people that do this as long or longer than me. And if you put your ear to it, you hear it kind of sounds like Rice Krispies. So I'm just gently going through. You always want to dress in layers because you might be cold until you start cleaning, and then you're like, it's still warm. And it's not toxic, so I've unfortunately eaten some of it. Yeah. Her and I were cleaning a really big stone. It's like we both kind of like went like this at the same time, and it's like right across our face. I'm like, that was kind of gross. Yeah, I don't recommend drinking it or eating it, but.
Along with it D2 comes all the lichen going in your face.
Yeah. Or when our kids are, you know, not paying attention.
Yeah.
Because this is really fun with your kids. And then they grow up. Right, kid? No? That's my son. Still digging. He still puts up with his mom. See how it's kind of pinkish down here? So you're gonna see change in colors. It's not surprising, but you're, like I said, the first time I was like, what did I just do?
Do you do anything if the stone is partially buried?
Not until you learn more. Yes, you can bring it up, but it depends. Is there a base? Is it a tablet stone, and is it just straight? Like, that's a military stone. That's marble, and it's probably 2.5 to 3 feet under the ground, or should be, in one piece. That thing weighs close to 320 pounds. So, unless you're prepared for that, then, you know, you look at it. So, I'm probably just gonna grab, so I want to use super soft, because again, when you guys, and I'll have you guys all look at it after, you can see the striations where the stone's starting to degrade. So I don't want to make it worse, but I also kind of want to get some of the stuff off so that it stops making it worse. And like I said, I just have so many brushes because I found like, ooh, I like this one for that, or I like this one for this kind, or if I'm doing this. And some of them I won't touch for weeks, and then all of a sudden I'm like, where's that blue brush? This would be perfect for that. And sometimes they're so dirty, you have no idea what they say. So I'll even use the suds to kind of make shadows. So you can kind of like, oh, that says 1920, 1844 to 1920. So like, oh, now I know when he died, or she died. Oh, this is another fun one. I love it when they do this.
She
So
must
you've
be
got
alive.
Or she's buried somewhere else.
His brother was a Civil War veteran, and he married a younger woman, and he passed in 20, and she remarried to have someone take care of her family.
absolutely, absolutely. My great-grandfather decided, he was my great-great-grandfather. All three of his daughters got married in Utica in their 20s, and he was like 63, 64, and from Italy, and they weren't going to give him his citizenship, so he said fine, used a few explicitives, and went back to Italy and decided to remarry, and he remarried a 16-year-old girl. So they had 4 more kids. So at my christening, this lady shows up from Italy, and she's like, yes, that's my half-sister. So she's the same age as my father, and her half-sister was my great-grandmother. So if you do any genealogy, usually it's like, okay, so you've got the great-grandparents here, and then you go the next line, so the, brothers, sisters, and then you got first cousins. So his direct cousin on the other end, my dad is 73, and she's just turned 30. It happens. So we're probably not going to see a massive difference with this one just because of the condition it's in. Yes, you can go through and be super picky and work on the sides and stuff if you'd like, if you have time. I usually just spray it and brush down the sides and the back because it will again work over time. But I mostly focus on trying to get all of the most of the masses of stuff off the front, because the front's the important part that you can read. Unless there's stuff on the back, then you want to get the back too. And then this is not any high PSI anything. Bless you. My rule of thumb is if I could put this up against my skin and it doesn't hurt, it shouldn't hurt the stone. Because it's not any worse than a bad ring. So again, you're not going to see a massive difference just because of but if you guys want to come up and look at the stone, you can kind of see the striations. And this used to be smooth. This was a smooth marble stone, but you can see the striations and where you can where it's starting to crack and come apart. So that's why you don't want to do too much. But you guys can come on up and